I should have known something was off when Maya always had an excuse to slow things down. 3 years of dating, and every time things got close to going all the way, there was a reason. Not tonight, I'm exhausted. Let's wait until we're married, it'll be special. I want our wedding night to be perfect. I thought it was romantic, old-fashioned even. In a world where everyone hooks up on the first date, here was this gorgeous, confident woman who wanted to wait, who valued intimacy enough to make it mean something. God, I was such an idiot. My name's Ryan, and I'm a software architect in Austin. 29 years old, decent career, thought I had my life figured out. Maya was 26, worked in marketing for a tech startup, had this whole sophisticated vibe going. She'd talk casually about her ex-boyfriends, drop hints about her wild college years, made jokes about past relationships that suggested experience. The kind of experience that made me feel like I needed to step up my game. We met at a tech conference in 2020. She was presenting on digital marketing strategies, and I was immediately drawn to how she commanded the room. Confident, funny, smart as hell. We grabbed drinks after her panel, and by the end of the night, I knew I wanted to see her again. Our relationship moved fast emotionally, but slow physically. Makeout sessions that got heated but never crossed that final line. She'd pull back, breathless, and say, "Soon, I promise, but I want it to be right." I respected that. Hell, I loved that about her. Looking back now, I can see all the signs I missed. The way she'd tense up when intimate scenes came on in movies, how she'd change the subject when friends talked about their sex lives, the slight panic in her eyes whenever I'd try to move things forward, quickly masked by that practiced smile. But I didn't see it then. I saw what she wanted me to see, a woman who knew what she wanted and was choosing to wait. The wedding was perfect, May 2023, outdoor venue in the hill country, 200 guests, everything Maya had dreamed about. She looked incredible in her dress, and when she walked down that aisle, I felt like the luckiest guy alive. The reception was a blur of congratulations, dancing, champagne. Maya seemed nervous as the night went on, but I figured that was normal. Big day, lots of emotions, exhaustion setting in. We'd booked the bridal suite at a luxury hotel downtown. Top floor, king bed, champagne waiting on ice, rose petals scattered everywhere. The whole romantic setup. That's when everything fell apart. Maya disappeared into the bathroom as soon as we got to the room. She was in there for almost 30 minutes. I could hear the water running, and I figured she was taking her time, building anticipation, making herself comfortable. When she came out, she was wearing this white silk nightgown, her makeup freshly applied, hair perfect, but her hands were shaking. "Hey," I said softly, walking over to her. "You okay?" "Yeah, just nervous," she laughed, but it came out wrong, too high-pitched. "We don't have to do anything tonight," I told her. "We're married now. We have the rest of our lives." Something flickered across her face. Relief? Panic? I couldn't tell. "No, I want to," she said quickly. I need to tell you something first." My stomach dropped. In that moment, 1,000 worst-case scenarios flashed through my mind. She was sick. She was having second thoughts. She was in love with someone else. I haven't, she started, then stopped, took a deep breath, started again. "Ryan, I'm a virgin." The words hung in the air between us like a bomb that hadn't quite detonated yet. "What?" I said stupidly, because my brain couldn't process what she just said. "I've never had sex before," she said, and now she was crying, mascara starting to run despite being waterproof. "I lied to you about everything. All those stories about ex-boyfriends, my experience, the casual jokes about past relationships, all of it was made up." I sat down on the edge of the bed because my legs suddenly felt unreliable. "I don't understand," I said. "Why would you lie about that?" Because I was ashamed, she burst out. Do you know what it's like to be 26 and still a virgin in this day and age? Everyone assumes something's wrong with you, that you're repressed or religious or damaged or something. Maya, she grew up in this super conservative household. My parents drilled into me that sex before marriage was shameful, that good girls wait. So I waited. Through high school, through college, through my 20s. And the longer I waited, the more impossible it became to actually do anything. She wrapped her arms around herself, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. By the time I met you, I was so tired of being judged for it. So I created this persona, this version of myself who was experienced and confident and sexually liberated. I thought that if I could just get to the wedding, then it would be okay. Then I'd have a legitimate reason to have sex for the first time. My mind was reeling. 3 years. 3 years of our relationship had been built on this fundamental lie. The ex-boyfriend stories? Made up. I dated a few guys in college, but we never got past second base before I'd panic and end things. The wild college years? Studying in the library and going to bed at 10 p.m. Every memory I had of our relationship was suddenly cast in a different light. All those times she'd pulled away, I thought she was teasing me, building anticipation, playing hard to get. She'd been terrified. I should have been angry. Part of me was angry, but mostly I was just confused and hurt. Not because she was a virgin, I didn't give a damn about that, but because she'd lied about something so fundamental for so long. Why didn't you just tell me the truth? I asked. When? On our first date? Hey, nice to meet you. By the way, I'm a virgin with serious intimacy issues. On our third date, when you kissed me and I nearly had a panic attack but played it cool? Our 6-month anniversary, when you started hinting about taking things further and I made up that story about wanting to wait until marriage. She had a point, but it didn't make it hurt less. The longer I waited to tell you, the bigger the lie became, and the more terrified I was that you'd leave me when you found out, because why would someone like you, experienced, confident, normal, want to deal with someone like me? Someone like you? I repeated. Maya, you're not broken. Being a virgin doesn't make you broken. Then why does it feel that way? She whispered. We sat there in silence for a while, the champagne going warm in its bucket, the rose petals looking increasingly ridiculous scattered across the bed. I need you to understand something, I finally said. I'm not upset that you're a virgin. I'm upset that you didn't trust me enough to tell me the truth, that you thought you had to be someone else for me to want you. I know, she said quietly. I know that now, but by the time I figured that out, we were already so deep into the relationship that I didn't know how to untangle the lies from the truth. What else have you lied about? I asked, and I hated how suspicious I sounded, but I needed to know. Nothing major, she said quickly. I really do work in marketing. My family stuff is all true. My friends, my interests, my career goals, that's all real. It was just this one thing, this one massive relationship-defining thing. The irony wasn't lost on me. She'd lied about her sexual experience because she thought it would make me want her more. But what I'd actually fallen in love with was everything else. Her humor, her intelligence, the way she'd get passionate about obscure marketing theories, the way she'd always order dessert first at restaurants to make sure there's room for it. The sex part? I mean, yeah, I'd been looking forward to our wedding night, but it wasn't why I married her. So what now? I asked. She looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. Do you want an annulment? The question caught me off guard. What? No. Maya, I married you because I love you. That hasn't changed. Even though you lied to me for 3 years? I'm not going to pretend I'm okay with the lying.
That's something we're going to need to work through, probably with a therapist, because this is above my pay grade. But the actual issue you lied about, being a virgin, that's not a deal breaker. That's barely even a thing." She started crying harder, and I pulled her into my arms. She fit there perfectly, just like she always had. I'm so sorry," she sobbed into my chest. "I'm so sorry." "I know," I said, stroking her hair. "We're going to figure this out." We didn't have sex that night, obviously. Instead, we talked until 3 in the morning. She told me everything. The religious shame from her childhood, the panic attacks she'd hidden, the therapy she'd been secretly going to for the past year to try to work through her issues before the wedding. "Wait," I said, "you've been in therapy for a year and didn't tell me?" She winced. "I was going to tell you after the wedding. I thought if I could just fix myself first, then I could come clean and it wouldn't be a big deal." "Maya, you don't need to fix yourself. You're not broken." "Then why do I feel so messed up?" That's when I realized the real issue. This wasn't just about sex or lying. This was about Maya genuinely believing she was fundamentally damaged because she didn't fit society's timeline for sexual experience.
The next morning, we ordered room service and stayed in bed talking. Not about sex, but about everything else. All the small lies she'd told to maintain the bigger lie. The mental gymnastics she'd performed to keep her story straight. "Remember our friend Sarah's bachelorette party?" she asked, when everyone was sharing their craziest hookup stories. I said, "You told that story about the musician in Barcelona." "Never happened. I spent that summer working at my dad's accounting firm in Ohio." "The time you said you'd had a pregnancy scare in college?" "Made it up to seem more experienced. I've never even been late for my period." It should have been devastating, hearing all of this, but somehow, in the light of day, with everything finally out in the open, it was almost liberating, like we could finally start being honest with each other. "I need you to understand something," I told her. "Going forward, I need complete honesty about everything. Even if you think it's embarrassing or shameful or you're scared of how I'll react, the lying hurts worse than whatever truth you're hiding." "I know," she said. "I promise. No more lies." And we're getting into couples therapy immediately. Not because I think you're broken, but because we need help rebuilding trust. And probably because I need help processing the fact that my wife lied to me for 3 years. She nodded. "I'll call someone as soon as we're back from the honeymoon. Also, we're going to take sex completely off the table for a while." She looked surprised. "What?" I explained. "You've built up so much anxiety about this that trying to force it is only going to make things worse. So we're going to start over. Completely. Date nights, making out like teenagers, gradually building up to more when you're actually ready. No timeline, no pressure, no expectations. But we're married. You shouldn't have to wait." "I'm not waiting. I'm choosing to prioritize your mental health and our relationship over my sexual satisfaction. There's a difference." She started crying again, but this time it seemed different, lighter somehow. "I don't deserve you," she said. "Yeah, you do," I told her. "Despite everything, I still love you. I'm hurt and confused, and we have a lot of work to do, but I love you." We spent the rest of our honeymoon in the Maldives actually getting to know each other. The real Maya, not the persona she'd been performing. Turned out the real Maya was even better than the version she'd been pretending to be. She was anxious about a lot of things, not just sex. She had this whole carefully constructed mask she'd been wearing for years. Now that it was off, I got to see the person underneath, the one who had panic attacks before big presentations but pushed through anyway, who was terrified of deep water but had agreed to a beach honeymoon because she thought I'd want it, who actually preferred staying in with pizza and bad TV over going out clubbing, despite all her stories about her party phase. "Why did you think you needed to be someone else for me to love you?" I asked her one night as we sat on our private beach watching the sunset. She admitted, "Because the real me seemed too boring,
too anxious, too sheltered, too vanilla. I said, Maya, I married you thinking you were this experienced, adventurous person. And yeah, that was attractive. But you know what would have been more attractive? Honesty, authenticity, the chance to actually know the person I was falling in love with. She leaned her head on my shoulder. I'm really scared I've ruined us. I said, you haven't, but we have a lot of work ahead of us.
We got back from our honeymoon and immediately started couples therapy. Dr. Martinez was this no-nonsense woman in her 50s who called Maya out on her bullshit while still being compassionate about the underlying issues. You experienced religious trauma around sexuality, she explained in our second session. Then, instead of dealing with it, you created an elaborate defense mechanism. The lying wasn't malicious, it was protective, but it was still lying, and that has consequences. Slowly, painfully, we started rebuilding. Maya started individual therapy to work through her sexual shame. I started processing my own feelings about the deception. Together, we learned how to communicate honestly, even when it was uncomfortable. It wasn't easy. There were fights, tears, moments where I wondered if we'd make it. The hardest part was intimacy. We started from scratch, kissing, touching, gradually exploring each other with no expectation of sex. It was frustrating as hell for both of us, but it was also kind of beautiful. Like we were teenagers again, figuring things out for the first time. 3 months after the wedding, we finally had sex. It was awkward and clumsy and nothing like the movies. Maya cried afterward, but this time from relief rather than shame. "That's it," she said, laughing through her tears. "I built this up in my head for 26 years, and that's it?" "I mean, it gets better," I said, trying not to be offended. "That was literally your first time." "No, I know," she said quickly. "I just mean all that fear, all that anxiety, all those years of thinking something was wrong with me, and it turns out it's just sex. A normal human experience that I could have been having all along if I hadn't been so messed up about it." "You weren't messed up," I corrected her. "You were dealing with trauma and shame that was put on you by other people." She kissed me. "Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for finally being honest with me." That was 8 months ago. We're still in therapy. Maya's still working through her issues with shame and anxiety. I'm still processing the betrayal, even though I've mostly forgiven her. But here's what I've learned. Sometimes people lie not because they're trying to hurt you, but because they're trying to protect themselves. That doesn't make the lying okay, but it makes it understandable. Maya lied because she was ashamed of something that wasn't even shameful. She created this elaborate persona because she thought the real her wasn't good enough. And yeah, that hurt me, but it hurt her more. The real tragedy isn't that she was a virgin on her wedding night. It's that she spent 3 years terrified that the person she loved would reject the real her. Our sex life now? Actually pretty great. Turns out when you remove all the shame and anxiety and lies and just focus on being present with each other, things work themselves out. Maya's still learning what she likes, and I'm learning how to be patient with that process. But more importantly, our relationship is built on honesty now. Real honesty. When Maya's anxious about something, she tells me. When I'm frustrated or hurt, I say so. We don't hide behind personas or white lies or elaborate stories about fake ex-boyfriends. Sometimes I think about our wedding night and wonder what would have happened if Maya had told me the truth early on. Would I have been okay with it? Absolutely. Would it have changed how I felt about her? Not at all. Would it have saved us both a lot of pain? Definitely. But maybe we needed to go through this. Maybe Maya needed to hit rock bottom with her lying before she could start building something real.
Maybe I needed to have my trust broken before I could learn what real forgiveness looks like.
The weirdest part is how our friends reacted when we finally told them. We'd been debating whether to say anything, but Dr. Martinez encouraged transparency as part of Maya's healing process. We had some friends over for dinner about 6 months post-wedding. After a few drinks, Maya just said it. So, fun fact, I was a virgin on my wedding night. Also, I lied about my entire sexual history for 3 years. Ryan and I are in therapy about it. Pass the wine. Dead silence. Then Sarah, the same Sarah whose bachelorette party had prompted one of Maya's fake stories, started laughing. "Oh, thank God," she said. "I thought I was the only one." Turns out Sarah had also been a virgin when she got married 2 years ago. She'd also lied about it. So had our friend Jessica. And our friend Tom had lied about the opposite. He'd claimed to be a virgin for religious reasons when he actually wasn't. Everyone had been lying about their sexual experience, all afraid of being judged, all thinking they were the only ones. "We're all such idiots," Maya said, and everyone laughed, and somehow the whole thing became less heavy. But that night, after everyone left, Maya got quiet. "What's wrong?" I asked. "She's keep thinking about all the time I wasted. All those years I could have been honest with you, all the stress and anxiety I put myself through for no reason." "It wasn't for no reason. You were protecting yourself the only way you knew how. But yeah, it would have been easier if you just trusted me from the start. Would you have married me if I'd told you the truth on our first date?" I thought about it, honestly. "Probably not. Not because you were a virgin, but because dropping something that personal that fast would have been a red flag. But if you told me 6 months in, when we were getting serious, absolutely. I would have appreciated your honesty, and we would have figured it out together." "I robbed us of that," she said quietly. "Yeah, you did. But we're here now, and we're making it work. That has to count for something." She nodded, but I could tell she was still beating herself up about it. "The truth is, I still have bad days. Days where I remember some story she told about a fake ex-boyfriend and feel angry all over again. Days where I wonder what else she might be lying about, even though I know she's not. Trust, once broken, doesn't just magically repair itself. It takes time, consistent honesty, proof that the person who hurt you has actually changed. But it can be rebuilt. We're proof of that. Maya's in a much better place now mentally. She's working on a blog about religious sexual shame and recovery, helping other people who went through what she did. It's been therapeutic for her to turn her pain into something useful. And me, I'm learning that love isn't just about the good times. It's about whether you're willing to do the hard work when things fall apart, whether you can forgive without forgetting, whether you can rebuild something even better than what you had before. Our first anniversary is coming up next month. We're planning a vow renewal, kind of a weird thing to do after just 1 year, but it feels important. This time, Maya wants to write her own vows, real ones, honest ones, no performance, no persona, just the truth about who she is and what she's learned. "I want to stand in front of everyone we love and tell the truth this time," she told me. "I want to marry you again, but as the real me, not the person I thought I needed to be." That's when I knew we'd be okay. Not perfect, not without struggles, but okay. Because the real Maya, anxious, vulnerable, honest Maya, is exactly who I want to spend my life with. I just wish I'd gotten to meet her 3 years sooner. But maybe some lessons have to be learned the hard way. Maybe Maya needed to lose herself in lies before she could find herself in truth. Maybe I needed to have my trust broken before I could learn what real commitment looks like. If you'd asked me on our wedding night if I'd stay with someone who'd lied to me for 3 years, I would have said no. But that's because I was thinking of lying as a choice made by someone who doesn't care about you. Maya's lying was different. It was self-protection born from trauma and shame. It was wrong, and it hurt me, but it wasn't malicious. And once she was finally honest, she did the work to change. She didn't just apologize, she proved she was different. That's the distinction that matters. We're not perfect. We're still figuring things out, but we're doing it together, honestly, without masks or personas or elaborate backstories. And honestly, that's better than perfect.